Happy Sunday, y'all. Happy Sunday. It is Christmas Sunday. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We are back for Sit on the Couch with Dr. Triphi and our special guest, Reverend Ramona Dinard. Ramona, welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like I could hear like the cheering. You know, when they welcome the guests, I could hear the clapping, the cheering, and we need to have the
Some
canned
clappers.
cheering, the clapping.
We need some clappers. We need a recording like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
well. I'm well.
That's good. You look relaxed and fresh out there in the tropics. And look at me.
Yeah, I'm
How is
trying to sit
Antigua?
close to the window so I can get the breeze.
How is Antigua right now?
I think it's good. It's cool. This weekend, lots of excitement because um, what do we have? We call ABST, which is some kind of tax that gets added on like when you shop and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the weekend where the government removes that tax. So you
Okay.
can go and buy stuff without the tax. So people are going ballistic. Um,
What's a weekend there? What's a
yeah.
weekend to
So,
get it? Yeah,
so today
that's
was the
great.
last day. So normally in town the shops aren't open on a Sunday, but
Hmm.
today they were. So Antigua is getting ready for Christmas and
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
enjoying the little break that the government is giving us. Yeah.
Well, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Sit on the Couch is my attempt to normalize having therapeutic conversations, normalize caring for ourselves, caring for our mental health. And my focus is particularly on people from my original part of the world. I'm from Dominica in the Caribbean originally, although I practice and live in the state of Georgia. And we don't have many mental health support networks in the Caribbean. Um, but because we are human beings, we're also navigating life and really um, needing support like everybody else. So I'm so grateful that Reverend Ramona Dinard, who's a Methodist minister from the Church of Great Britain, who is now on assignment on sabbatical. You'll tell me a little more about that in Antigua. So she's warm and nice, and I'm looking like Santa like this today. So tell me a little bit more about that, Ramona. Um,
Yeah. So basically, um, I have what we call permission to reside in another country.
mhm.
And then I had to get permission to work outside of the control of the Methodist conference in the UK.
Mhm.
So Methodist ministers, you are it's not it's a vocation. So you are ordained into the life of the
Okay.
church in the UK. And so you are under the discipline of
Mhm.
the church. So if you want to do anything else,
Mhm.
particularly with ministry, then you have to seek permission. So I had to meet with a committee to ask permission to reside out of the United Kingdom. And
Mhm.
then once I got the opportunity to work with the church here, even though it's the same Methodist church, I had
Mhm.
to then, because they have different conferences, different, they're on the different governances.
Mhm.
So then I had to seek permission to do that,
Mhm.
to work with the church. If I was going to work in a bank, I wouldn't need to have permission.
Mhm.
But anything ministry related, I would need permission. So
Okay.
that was 2 years from last year. So I'm in my second year, which
Mhm.
comes to an end in August of next year. And which would have meant I would be returning to the UK
Mhm.
next August. However, I wanted some more time, so I had to go back to the committee and ask for 3 more years. And they said yes, so 3 more years from 2025,
Oh
and
wow.
asked for the permission to um, be stationed in another conference. So
Mm-hmm.
the Methodist Church in the Caribbean and the Americas, MCCA. So I
Okay.
have no idea where I'll be September next year,
Oh, wow.
and I'll find out sometime in the new year
Mm-hmm.
where that will be. So it's exciting and scary,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm open. I'm
Mm-hmm.
open. I would love to stay in Antigua, but I know that's not in terms of ministry because I realize I want to do ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm open to go somewhere anywhere in the Caribbean, which is like, are you sure you want to do that? When you say something and think, oh,
Right, right,
but
right.
yes,
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's
yeah,
happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where I am. So stepping into the unknown, basically.
Yeah.
So yes, so exciting stuff, exciting stuff. So I could be anywhere next
Absolutely.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's a lot of change and transition,
Mm,
especially
mm.
given what we're processing, what we've been talking about. You said that you are 2 years into a
Yes,
divorce, 2 years
yesterday was
divorce.
2 years exactly.
What was that like for you?
Interesting. I think leading up to it, I was like, how am I gonna be on the day? Am I gonna be okay? But so I decided beforehand that I would do something for me. So I slept in, and once I sorted the cats out, I booked myself in. I went to get a massage yesterday. So that's what I did, and then yeah, I think I
Oh,
went to visit some friends, and then
uh-huh.
came home. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is you knew you were facing an anniversary that might generate painful feelings. Yeah. And so
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
planned ahead of time. You created a self-care plan, is what I'm
mm,
hearing. That included touch. Yeah. So
mm.
oxytocin.
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Release. You planned rest. Yes, to recover, to be gentle with yourself. And what is your, what is your feeling on how it went altogether, given that you planned in that way?
Yeah, it was interesting because it's kind of was an anticlimax. I think the first year was like, ooh, um, and so I really wasn't sure what this would be like. Just reliving that moment, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, so in some ways, it was a bit of an anticlimax,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, I'm okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying to someone, I'm sure if I go to get a massage, I'm gonna cry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna burst into tears and just cry on this
Mm-hmm.
masseuse table. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't cry. I did not cry. So yeah, it was interesting. It's like, okay, I'm I'm okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay. I mean, there were the little, you know, tinges of I guess sadness, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it sounds as if you did not feel overwhelmed by the sadness and you were
No.
aware of it, but
Mm.
yes, very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. So it was a difference to the year before,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, which is good, I think.
Mm-hmm. So last session, for a little bit of review, last session, you made a decision, you made a new decision to focus on moving at your own pace, to not have any expectations about how this recovery process
Mm,
should unfold. And as I say, should, also to look at the times you use the word should and maybe think about it like, well, I wish this, I want this, versus it
mm,
should be a particular way. My preference would be this, even though the reality is that.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And you were also going to explore some new activities, new hobbies connected to writing. You were going to look
mm.
at what are these spaces. How did that go?
I I haven't done that
Mm-hmm.
in that sense because the next writers workshop is not until the new year.
Okay.
So there was none there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Interestingly, I one of the things I wanted to do was do a journaling workshop for offer that to
Mm-hmm.
people. And I went on Instagram yesterday and discovered that I had won a prize from Waladi Spaces for a bottle of wine and $400 gift card to use the space.
What?
So yeah, yeah,
Like look at life. Like look at life show up.
yeah. I was like, and I hadn't been on Instagram for a few days, and
Right.
it was just last night I went and I saw her a message. I'm like, what's this message? And I was like, oh,
Wow.
because
What
first
you
I
call
just
that?
saw the bottle of
Serendipity.
wine, and then I was like, I saw the other bit. Oh, so
Yeah.
basically, when I'm ready, which I want to do in the new year, I
Mm-hmm.
can book the space, and
Wow.
I have that $400 credit there
That's
with them.
amazing. You know,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
to think that when we're ready, when we make the first move, life shows up to help
Mm,
us.
mm,
I
mm.
really believe that.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
wonderful, man. That's wonderful. All right.
yeah.
A check-in on how you're feeling grief-wise. So what
Mm.
stage of grief would you say you've been in for the most part these past few days or maybe today? And if you can give it a rating on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being the strongest and zero being nothing.
I think I'm certainly not the anger, um, and it's a kind of. I think I'm heading towards acceptance,
Mm,
um, and actually, it's kind of subconscious because it's just as you asked that question, I realized, oh, so that's what that is.
mhm,
It's that move towards acceptance,
mhm, mhm,
um, and a sense of okay, this is happening, this has happened,
mhm,
can't rewrite it,
mhm,
unwrite it, dismantle it.
mhm,
This is it. Um, and so now let's look forward. Let's
mhm,
look
mhm.
forward. Um,
Right.
and at what is ahead.
Yes.
And what is 2025
Mhm.
I'm going to look like. So if
Yeah.
I were to rate it, um, I would say I'm about 6 going on 7 towards the acceptance. Um, but I don't see that as a negative. Yeah, because 6 might
Yes.
seem low, but actually I think it's good. It's
Absolutely.
good because it's moving. It's not
Mhm.
stationary. So yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. And I saw you do a movement like this. Where in
Mhm.
your body do you feel that sense of acceptance?
I think it's just like here, like okay, there's not that heaviness,
Mhm.
you know, that you would feel,
Mhm.
that I have felt in the past.
Mhm.
There was just this um, fluttering, if that makes sense. But
Fluttering.
it's not,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's not the negative fluttering like
Uh-huh.
thing, but it's just this
If you
fluttering.
could give it a word, if you could give it another word on an emotion, uh, if you could give it another word, what emotion would that fluttering represent? You could call it an emotion word.
Um, it's not quite excitement.
Hmm.
Anticipation, is that an emotion?
Makes sense. That
Anticipation.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. That makes sense to me. Didn't want to put
Mhm.
words in your mouth. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Okay, what are you anticipating perhaps the most?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's more of I'm open to whatever.
Curiosity?
Yes, yes, that's a good word. And I saw somewhere this exercise that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
where you write 11 things on slips of
Mm-hmm.
papers. I don't know if you saw my video earlier where I was burning two of them.
I saw
And
some. I saw a little bit of
every
it.
day, yeah, every day you burn one of. So you write the things out, 11
Yeah.
things. You fold the papers. Every day you burn one. You don't look at it or whatever you choose. You don't choose which one.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it gets to the end of December,
Mm-hmm.
to New Year, the last one is the thing that
Mm-hmm.
you go forward with in 2025.
And
So,
that's exciting.
so I've done that. I'm doing that. And I didn't burn yesterday, so I burned two today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, okay, let's see, let's see how that goes. Let's see
Yes.
where that leads, and and I'm interested to know how I will react to the thing that's left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, because as I was thinking of different things, it's like, okay, I, I suppose that in a way I pushed myself in some of the things I wrote, and
Mm-hmm.
in some of the things I was open, and
Mm-hmm.
in some things there were things that I have thought of doing before. So there's a
Yes.
kind of familiarity with them, and some of them were just wide open, like
Right.
sky's the limit kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it will be very interesting to see which one emerges
Yeah.
as the winner, if that's the right word.
Yeah. Okay. So I also last week wanted you to think about what are you grateful for about your input in the relationship. Like what
Mm,
are the things you saw as the gifts you brought into the
mm,
relationship? What are you grateful for about what you brought into the
mm.
relationship? Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience. And I did it sort of in parts. I started, did some, and then went and did it in one go.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started, I was stuck, and because of where I was the last time we spoke, I think we talk about the DTs, I'm calling them now, the Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trumps,
Mm-hmm.
um, distorted thoughts. Was this we call? Yeah, what I was
That's
calling the gremlins.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think because that's where I was, it was like, oh, you can't even find four things, you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
left it. I left
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I did wrote a few, left it and came back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Um, and I still don't know, well, I'm not sure how I feel about the list. And I think there's still an element of, well, what is that? You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
that critique,
Mm-hmm.
like critical voice, in some ways that is trying to come to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as I looked, and some of the things, there were particular emotions that came with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, as I look, I mean, I have it open because I was looking at it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, you know what? Okay, yeah, I did okay.
Yeah.
I did okay. And because I was thinking, well, what more else? What else? I had a story. Well, what else could you have done, Ramona?
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that there and anything's like needed to have worked on, but
Right.
we can be quite critical of our contributions to family life, especially when a relationship breaks down,
Mm-hmm.
and we question ourselves at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think I'm learning to love how I showed up. Yeah, the things that my contribution. I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning to love and appreciate them,
Mm-hmm.
because even though they might seem insignificant, you know, um, they're not earth shattering, but actually for the so, how can I say that's not earth shattering? Some things were quite major, but yeah, they were for
Pause for a
the
second. Can you say that again?
no, I was
Can you
I
say
was
that
going to
again?
say they're not earth shattering, but actually some things were quite major where I actually took up a challenge in some ways and ran with certain things, and I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. Yeah, I
I
did it.
appreciate, I appreciate, I appreciate your awareness and your recognition of the fact that you made a judgment and that you could shift that judgment. Yeah. Because who makes the rule that it was not earth shattering?
Right, right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the
Yeah.
DTs again, right? The
Right.
DT.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we
That's right.
gotta squash those.
Yeah. And we got to look at different perspectives of the same
Mm.
thing. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah, yeah.
So what I'm also hearing from you is self-acceptance,
Mm.
self-compassion, and mindfulness, a willingness to be in the moment, to be present to yourself and with yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, like not discarding yourself, because sometimes we can do the self-discard.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
self-downing, self-discarding. So when
yeah.
that shows up, to be willing to look at it again, to reframe it, put it on a
Mm.
different frame. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not denial. I think some people might be
Exactly.
tempted to think,
Hmm.
denying something, but it's actually looking at it and saying, actually, that is honorable, that is worthy,
Yes, yes, yes,
that is worthy of a mention. You have the
yes.
honorable mentions.
That's
It is
right.
worthy of an honorable mention,
That's right.
and that's
That's right.
okay. That's
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Tonight, I wanted to explore your strengths
Okay.
as you have navigated this critical life event. You know, uh, what what of your strengths are you seeing show up? And I also want you to think about past experiences, past challenges in life, and how you made it through those challenges. And what aspects of yourself, what strengths did you use to help you come out to the other side?
Mm. On one hand, I would say I have no idea, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that's like, how did I, you know, you know, like if I go to what I would say was one of the most significant, or in a horrific kind of way,
Mhm.
trauma of um of sexual abuse,
Mhm.
and navigating growing up, teenage years into adulthood. I'm like, what in the world? Um, and I think I think that over time, I've realized that I can do hard things,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm not someone that um, sits down and waits for things to happen.
And because I am
Um,
not someone who sits down and waits for things to happen, I am someone who, so I am someone who.
I'm someone who pushes through and who keeps moving, um, and who will go after the things that she wants,
I keep moving
right?
backward. I keep moving backward, upward, downward, forward, sideways. You said I keep moving through. I keep moving.
Moving through to go for the things that she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's not a stationary. I'm not a kind of stationary person. I think one of the things, let me try to explain. One of the things I've struggled with in the last few years is the notion that somehow I am not motivated, um, or having ambition. Um, and I've struggled with that version, that somebody's version
Mm-hmm.
of me. And I think at some point I believed it. Not I think, I believe that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back and I realized that there were moments when those things were true,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't the essence of me.
Mm-hmm.
They were true because of what was happening at the time from a mental point of view. So it makes sense. It looks like the truth, like this is the whole of me. But then when I
Mm-hmm.
look back
Yeah.
at my life and look back at the things I've done and how I've navigated life, that is not true,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so it's, for me, it's a kind of reclaiming who I am.
Yes.
And I think being here in Antigua has reminded me of that. And even, looking back to when I moved to the UK at age 28, not knowing, you know, anybody. I've never been to the UK before.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I got there, and within 2 weeks, I was looking for jobs. I was going, applying for jobs all over the place. I was not sitting around waiting for
Mm-hmm.
anybody. I was doing that.
Right.
I was going, walking
Right.
in the cold, taking applications. And within a month, I had a job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so this notion that somehow I am this person that, is sort of having the handout waiting to receive and not, is, I think, the element of truth based on what was happening at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the essence. And sometimes we take on a persona based on a temporary event, and
Correct.
it's not the truth. And we have to reclaim who we are.
Right.
Um, and I remember my cousin Marcus saying to me one time, and I never understood until I was thinking about it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I still can't imagine you married and settled down because you've always been an adventurous person. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea of you being married and so is just like, wow, I never thought you would be that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yes, that is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Adventurous person. You
Yes.
know, I don't, I take risks. I
Mm.
don't, I'm not an anxious kind of person that thinks, oh, what will go wrong? What will doesn't work?
Right.
That's that's been me. And then
Mm-hmm.
somehow I believed something else about me based on
Mm-hmm.
a temporary event.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's being here in Antigua is allowing me to reclaim that part of me. And I think I lost someone. I did
That's
I
all right.
lose?
How does that feel? How does it feel to
It's
be reconnecting with that part of yourself, which has been a powerful part. You say that, hey, this is my character, this is the situation. Yeah. This is the part of me that was able to, at 28, move to a completely different country, different climate, different culture, and start to create a life for myself. Yeah. So what does that feel like?
It's freeing, and it's forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Forgiving because you've sucked yourself into a way of thinking, and you've been hard on yourself, and so now it's like, hey, forgive myself for thinking
Mm-hmm.
that and believing that about myself,
Mm-hmm.
and freeing and liberating, and that kind of reclaiming. Okay, let's do this.
That's right.
Let's do this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Veronica is, I would say things like, Veronica is my mother,
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
I'm made of strong stuff.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, and I think there's also an element of being you as you, and not, because when we talk about motivation and ambition, I think people think of certain things, right? And it's often contained in a particular box. And
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to allow yourself to be you in the way that makes sense for you, and
Mm.
not in what other people might be
Mm.
saying or thinking or feeling, or even
Mm.
society might be
Mm-hmm.
asking you to.
Mm-hmm. That's big. So as you say that, I want us to move into, then what do you want? What does this version of yourself that you understand yourself to be versus what, everybody's got a right to have their expectations of us, right? Or to have their
Mhm.
perspectives about who we should be. Yeah. We know that's completely separate to who we understand
Mhm.
ourselves to be, which is what you're saying. Well,
Mhm.
what do you want? What do you want? That's strong, because we were talking about strengths, that part of yourself, that understanding of yourself that you see as strong and clear. Hmm? What does your highest and wisest self want as you move forward into 2025 and beyond? What do you want?
I would say, and this is not a cop out, I'm prefacing that. Um, I want whatever life has for me. I want
Mm-hmm.
to experience all that life has for me, all
Mm-hmm.
that there is available for me,
Mm-hmm.
and all that I can achieve. I want to be happy.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy life. I want to um, live in a state of contentment
Mm-hmm.
and self sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't quite, let me change that self sufficiency, or let me explain the self sufficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that any of us are truly self sufficient, because we are not living in isolation of other people.
We are
Um,
interdependent.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I mean is being able to achieve things as me,
Mm-hmm.
and not being in the shadows of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes. Yes. Create
yeah.
the life I want. Create the life
Yes.
I want. Yeah.
Yeah. What will my life look like?
Yeah.
If I'm going to build a house, if I'm going to buy a house,
Yeah.
it's going to look like what I want it to look like,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
it's going to have my stamp on it.
Right. Right.
Um, and I don't want to be constantly looking over my shoulder
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
wondering if somebody else is going to be pleased with what I have done.
Mm-hmm.
The only person I want to be accountable to is God.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um, in that sense.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. My next question is, well, what am I doing about it?
Panicking.
I like how quickly that left your mouth.
Well, see, I think that's why I did the 11 days thing,
Uh-huh.
because, I'm an ideas person.
Mhm.
What? Sorry, I went to a moment. I'm an
That's all right.
ideas person,
Uh-huh.
and I can, by the time I wake up, I can think of 5,000 ideas. Well, it's
Mhm.
happening less, so I think the medication is numbing that a little bit. But anyway, um,
Mhm.
and I have big, big dreams
Mhm.
and big ambitions.
Yes.
And one of the things I know about myself is that because I'm a risk taker and I'm impulsive,
Mhm.
um, then I can step out too quickly. And so
Mhm.
now I'm trying to watch that and not step out too quickly, but not to be held back either. So doing the 11 things, writing them and burning them, for me was a way of choosing. And maybe that was the kind of cop out, but was a way of choosing the thing that I was going to be doing and then saying, okay, well, this is it. You've got to do this now.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of giving myself a challenge
Mhm.
in that sense. But also I am thinking about how I show up on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
Um, Even looking at the space that I'm in, the physical space that I'm in, um, I'm realizing that I feel at the moment like I'm hemmed in and there's too
Mhm.
many stuff around.
Mhm.
And so I want to declutter, want to get rid of things. I feel like I'm in the season of needing to get rid of things.
Mhm.
And I think that's preparation for something.
Mhm.
Um, so I know that answers the question, but for me, I am becoming more aware of me and what is happening
Okay.
internally, and the things that catch my attention,
Okay.
that bring me my focus. Yeah.
So here's what I'm hearing. Okay. I'm hearing you say that you are identifying you've already identified several options for what you want to do next. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
And because a lot of these things are exciting, and you could go with this one or that one or this one or that one, I'm hearing an approach exploration, so to speak, right? So sometimes you can have two potential outcomes you're trying to create, but both of them are great. Like they're both,
Mm,
I could go either way. And
mm,
so that can be a little bit of a dilemma sometimes. There's some
yeah.
things that are clearly, oh, I don't want that. But if I have 10 that I could want, it makes
Mm,
sense to investigate all 10 well and explore the pros and the cons and the benefits and the cost and see what I'm willing to do now. So I think
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense in your planning phase. That makes a lot of sense. I did catch um, a, a couple self judgments. Let me say one. Let me say one. One that says, I am impulsive versus
I
sometimes
caught it when I said it too.
So, how might you reframe that? How might you
I
say
would,
that in a
yeah, I
different way?
can be impulsive.
I heard it, and then I heard you said something like I can move fast. I can move fast, or I can jump into
Oh, I
things.
step into things before considering all. There's some
Option.
people who has to investigate every iota of a thing. I'm not
Mhm. Yes,
generally prone to doing that.
yes. I like that. I like that. Yeah, but as far as the doing, I hear that what you're doing is a necessary step of creation. It is where we you can start where you are with what you have. And part of that next step is got to be evaluating your options, assessing your options, because I might already have the resources for some of these things I want to do.
Yeah.
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 Or I might need to go spend some time researching more. Yeah. And so I have to do an assessment so that I can see how many resources I need to apply. Yeah. And make my way forward. Okay, well, let's evaluate. How has that been working for you?
I've just started that process, so it's actually in the last few weeks been sort of thinking, okay. So it's been, I don't know, I feel encouraged. And I think I talked about earlier about that anticipation and openness. And so I feel that sense of being open to whatever. And I've actually kept a note of the things I wrote on the slips of paper, because I thought I didn't want to lose them, but also to allow me to go back and look at them in the new and see, okay, in some ways, would I have accomplished any of those, even though they were not the one thing that won at the end? And would there be things in that list that I would actually say, actually, no, in 6 months, would I still be there?
Right.
Wanting to do that thing? And or would something else have taken the place of it? But I feel like some of those things at some point within the next year, I need to do them.
Yeah. Okay. Very nicely said, very nicely put. Brings us right smack to the P, which is planning. So I'm going to ask you to think of one of those things, even if that's not the one that you end up choosing. Something that one of them that you perhaps feel safe enough to explore tonight. Yeah. Because the P plan part of that little process I'm working through with you is about planning. But we want to plan in a smart way. So we want to be specific as possible. We want what we are creating or what we say we are creating to be measurable. That way, when we see it, we know that's what we did. That's what we're doing, right? We hit that goal. We want it to be attainable because we don't want to waste our time saying, well, between now and December, I want to fly on SpaceX. We want it to be relatable or relevant, to our lives, to what it is we're creating. And we want it to be time oriented. We want to know that within this span of time, I will have accomplished that goal. For many reasons, we want to do that. One reason is we want to keep the pressure on ourselves. We want to hold ourselves accountable. Because if we go beyond the time, we will know we did not hit our mark. And if say we've been procrastinating, whatever, we got sick, we ran out of resources. As we get closer to that time frame, maybe we know we need to speed up. Yeah. And and that time on it, it's a great internal checker. Yeah, it's a way to check ourselves internally. So can you identify one of those that you feel okay talking about? And let's talk about it. We can start broad. We can throw ideas out in a broad way, but then we laser focus on making it very specific. So just start and we'll work it out.
Okay, I was trying to find, I don't know where I wrote it, but the one keeps coming out, so I guess that's the one we will look at. And that is something I've been thinking about, to collate my devotions, my personal devotions, into some kind of devotional book.
Okay, so perhaps we might say, I want to collate my personal devotions into, so we started off with into some kind
Or into a
of,
collection of devotions, perhaps.
or to a collection of devotions. Okay, so imagine I had a magic wand and I can help you attain this. Or you had a magic wand, you can do this and you can attain this. So what is your true wish? I want to what?
Publish a book, a devotional book.
Thank you. I want to publish a devotional book. Is that specific enough for you?
Yeah, yeah,
You see
yeah.
how nice and clean that is? So that's that's very nice, very specific. I want to publish a devotional book, right? You're saying I want to publish one devotional book. A is
Mm,
one, right? Okay. M is measurable. So give it a number.
mhm.
We answered that question. So I want to publish what? What is your M? How many books you want to publish? I want to publish A,
Oh,
which is one, right?
oh, oh, I see.
Well, I mean, uh-huh, uh-huh. You can make it more specific, more measurable if you want.
Oh, I just assumed that that book will then be sold in copies.
That's fine. That's fine, right? So a book
Uh,
is fine because if you publish it, it's published and copies can be made, right?
mhm, mhm.
Um, if you wanted to, you could actually refine that measurable to, um, you know, you can decide. I'm publishing one book, and we can look at it from the standpoint of one title, right?
Mm.
So I'm publishing a devotional book called this, right? Um, that
Oh,
that's
the
that's fine
title.
tuning it even further, but we don't
Oh,
have to do that.
that sounds daft. Um,
And again, that's all right because that's going even.
oh, read, write, pray.
Oh,
Read, write, pray.
I want to publish a book called Read, Write, Pray.
Because that's the format I use when I'm doing the devotions.
All right. Now, is that attainable between now and whenever you decide you will do it? Is that attainable for you?
It's attainable at some point.
Okay, so that's yes, right? So it's attainable. Is it relatable? Is it relatable to you? Is it relevant, relatable?
I think that's where I'm kind of stuck. Like ones that people don't want to read your stuff, Ramona. Where you have that, and when you think, well, actually, when some devotions I've seen, I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
Um,
Start with you. Is it relevant and relatable to you?
yes.
Okay, that's all you need. That's all you need. Yeah. A marketing specialist can focus on the rest.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And then time focused. So let's give it a time. I want to do this by when? If I have not completed it by this date, then I am off of my schedule.
Oh, I hadn't thought that far ahead.
So within the next year, within the
No, the
next,
next year. So I'm looking at within the next year.
so
Yeah,
today is 12 22
December,
24.
December
Yeah.
2025.
So 12 22 25. Okay. So your plan, yeah, or your SMART goal for yourself, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and time focused, is I publish, because we want to remove that want to. Right now, we want
Yep.
to. I mean, I want to fly to the moon.
Yeah.
I publish one book called Read, Write, Pray by 12/22/2025. And I can give myself, because I'm the one making all the rules, I can give myself permission to change the title of that book if I want. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a detail. That's just a detail. But I have now given myself an accountable task, a plan that is specific to me. Yeah. I can measure it. I will have a book done, completed, typed up by next year at this time. And
Mm.
it could be on or before.
Mm.
So I might be ahead of the game and I finish in August. I will have met my deadline for myself. And I'm the rule maker. This is my life. I create this. I decide. And I have decided that by 12/22/25, I publish a devotional book. And I even have a name for it, a working name for it, that
Mm.
I'm leaving it open. I can change it if I want. What's that feel? What's that feel like? How's that feel? I feel dash when I think about publishing or having published. I feel dash when I think about having published my devotional book called Read, Write, Pray by 12/22/25. I feel what?
Accomplished, proud. Yeah, I did it.
Ooh, I love it. I see it too. I see it
I'll
too.
send you the first audition copy.
Thank you. I see it too. I see it too. I see it too. Yeah, I see it too. So, as we come on to the last 7 minutes of our fantastic hour, what is your biggest takeaway from tonight's therapeutic conversation?
Apparently, I'm writing a book.
I am writing a book. Yes. Anything else?
I think it was the reminder that I have within me what is needed for my healing and for my growth. Um, and that I must not be um, shy or hold myself back, but keep that at the forefront of my mind as I navigate life, you know.
There we go. Hmm. And even as I reframe that using switching out words like must not to turning the sentence into a positive frame.
Mm,
I have within me what is needed for my healing and my growth.
yeah, yeah. And I will, oh, and I could say, I will not,
Remove the not. Say it without not. I will, or I choose to,
or I choose to push myself forward.
like that. Like that. Like that. Yeah. I choose to push myself forward. Yeah. Ah, thank you so much. I'm going to, I'm just writing this affirmation down so that I can send it to
I am
you.
too.
I'm I'm writing a book. Number one, I have within me what is needed for my healing and my growth. I choose to push myself forward. The end, because I can. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because I have every right to. Why do I have a right to do that? Because I exist. That's my right. I exist. I get to choose what I create in
mm,
this lifetime. These numbered days of
mm.
mine. These numbered days of mine. I get to choose how I show up, what I do. Yeah. And I choose to write a book. I choose to write a devotional. I have within me what is needed for my healing and my growth. And I choose to push myself forward. Thank you.
I wrote down, can I share with you some
Yes.
affirmations I wrote down the other
Yes.
day?
Yes.
Um, so I wrote on the 13th, I am worthy. I am worthy of good things. I
Yeah.
am fearfully and wonderfully made. I will experience success in all areas of my life.
Yes.
I'm ready for this new season of life. There is more for me than what is not. Good things are coming my way. My children will experience peace, joy, love, and success in life. I am loved. I am lovable. I have everything that I need to thrive. My best years are ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. 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 And so I'm going to ask you to think about um, everything we've talked about here, these last three sessions. Yeah. And in our next session, we will look at it as a wrap up session, as a launching off session. Yeah. And yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to what you do with these new thoughts and these new decisions. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! And I just want to share a comment from Heather. Heather says this right here, and I really want to thank you, Ramona, for offering your story and your life, your experiences to other people, other human beings, other humans, trying to navigate this little road of life, we're all on. Um, I'm so appreciative that you allowed yourself to be vulnerable with me and the people who are listening. So Heather says this is motivating to her, and she loves it. Yeah, that word of affirmation. I choose to push myself forward. I know I can. Yeah, y'all. Thank you all for showing up to listen, to support. Yeah, in therapeutic language and in ministerial language, we say we hold space for each other to heal. We sit and we listen while somebody's sharing a story. Yeah, we don't interrupt, we don't tell them how they need to be thinking, or you're wrong, or why did you think that way? No, we're showing up as we are. Yeah, and we support. Yeah, we support. Where necessary, we might ask questions to clarify what do they really mean by this. Yeah, is this really this is what I'm hearing, is this what you're trying to say?
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And if we maybe find, as all of us do, where what we're saying didn't match the whole time, we might say, well, hey, right here. Okay, yes, that was me doing that. We check each other for where what we're saying is not always lining up, to help each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
see better. Yeah. so we can see clearer, we can see better. Because when you see clearer, it's easier to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. So thank you, Ramona, and thank you all the ladies and the gentlemen who showed up. Any
Thank
final
you.
any final
Thank
thoughts?
you. I was going to say thank you for holding space and for using your gifts in allowing people to bring out um, the best in them, but also to the way you reflect back, what is being said. I really appreciate that. Your listening skills, I think, are top notch. And you just have that natural ability to hear. And that is so necessary, when you're dealing with people who are bringing their stuff to you. And I like that you are not imposing your thoughts and beliefs. I'm sure you have thoughts and beliefs where you think, come on, get a grip, right? Or whatever. But you allow um, the person to show up as themselves. So thank you for that.
You are very welcome.
And I declare that your gift will make room for you.
I received that. I received that blessing from the Reverend. I just received that blessing. All right. Thank you all. See you all next Sunday. Right? We're going to try again. We're going to try this next Sunday. If something comes up and we can do it, we will let you know. All right. Have a lovely Sunday night. Peace.
Bye, all.